Welcome to the team. McIntosh is committed to provide a safe and healthy workplace for all employees. The company will comply with all safety regulations that pertain to our industry, and every reasonable effort will be made to provide a safe working environment. To be successful, a safety program must have awareness toward injury and illness prevention on the part of all employees. It also requires cooperation in all safety and health matters. Only through such cooperative effort can a safety program be administered. The objective is to reduce the number of injuries and illnesses to an absolute minimum. The company provides information to employees about workplace safety and health issues through regular internal communication channels such as safety meetings, bulletin board postings, memos, and other written communications.
Hi, my name is Jose Delphi, and I'm the safety coordinator for the Northern Division.
Hi, my name is Dustin Kish, Safety and Compliance Specialist for the Southern Division.
Welcome. My name is Ryan Dubois. I'm the Director of Risk Management at McIntosh.
Safety procedures and standards. Each employee is expected to obey safety rules and exercise caution in all work activities. Every accident or injury, regardless of how minor, occurring on the job must be reported to your immediate supervisor at once. Employees must also immediately report any unsafe condition to his or her supervisor immediately. Safety is everyone's responsibility. Please take precautions and use materials and equipment with care and do your part to keep the worksite free of hazards. All work areas on the job site are to be kept clean and clear of any debris. In addition to personal injury, accidents cause downtime and reduce profitability. Employees who violate safety standards, who cause hazardous or dangerous situations, who fail to report, or, where appropriate, remedy such situations may be subject to disciplinary action up to and including termination. Those with ideas or suggestions for improved safety in the workplace are encouraged to raise them with their supervisor, another supervisor or manager, or bring them to the attention of a member of the safety committee. All reports can be made without fear of reprisal.
General safety. The plant can be a dangerous place. Hazards exist both inside and outside of the building. The risk of an accident can be reduced by following some general rules of safety. Comply with all safety rules and directives established by the company. Notify your supervisor of any unsafe actions or conditions. Do not operate any equipment until you have been properly trained and fully understand the correct operations and any hazards involved with that equipment. Inform your supervisor if you are not fully trained or if you have any questions regarding the equipment operation and any other safety issues. Do not work while under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Horseplay and fighting are prohibited. Walk, don't run in the plant. Report any damage or malfunctioning equipment. Know the location of all emergency shutoff valves and switches to the equipment you're working with. Pay attention and listen to your supervisor.
Emergency response and first aid. Knowing what to do in an emergency can save time and possibly a life. In the event of an accident resulting in an injured employee, stop work and assess the accident injury to determine the severity. If severe, seek a trained first aid responder, call 911 immediately, and work to get a supervisor or plant manager notified as soon as possible. Do not move a seriously injured person unless the person is being exposed to further injury. If less than severe, notify a supervisor or plant manager immediately so they may provide guidance. Trained first aid responders or the injured employee can administer first aid. It is important that all accidents are investigated to determine root cause. The plant manager or an assigned delegate will conduct an investigation of all cases of job-related injuries, illnesses, and near misses to determine the cause and attempt to prevent a recurrence in the future. Any required documentation will be completed and sent to the Safety Department and Human Resources Departments at accident@McIntoshBox.com.
Fire safety and procedures. Fire extinguishers are located throughout each building. Do not use a fire extinguisher unless you are trained to do so. In the event that the building must be evacuated, each facility has an evacuation plan. Your plant manager or supervisor will show you the evacuation plan specific to your facility. To prevent fires, the following rules must be followed by all employees. Smoking or vaping are only permitted in the following locations: inside your personal car, in a designated and labeled outside smoking area. Place combustible materials in a fire-safe metal container, and do not place combustible materials near heating devices. Do not fuel forklifts while they are running.
Machine operation and maintenance. The following procedures must be followed at all times when operating or maintaining machinery. Make sure all required safety guards are in place. Check to ensure safety guards are in proper working order at all times. Machines should be turned off at the main power supply prior to being adjusted, maintained, or repaired. The power supply must be tagged or locked out to prevent accidental startups. Never put any part of your body inside a machine due to the risk of being injured by a mechanical, electrical, or hydraulic failure, or by another person accidentally activating the control.
Tools. Make sure you're using the right tool for the job. Using the wrong tool can not only cause damage to the tool, but also the machine, another employee, or yourself. For power tools, personal protective equipment, eye, foot, and hearing protection should always be worn when using power tools. Check tools prior to each use. Keep tools clean and well lubricated. Receive the proper training before using. Power tools should be properly grounded, and notify your supervisor if there are any problems. For hand tools, routinely check hand tools to make sure they are in good condition. Store tools in the appropriate place and return them when finished. Receive the proper training before using all hand tools. Do not throw or drop tools. Do not carry sharp tools in pockets of clothes. And do not leave tools unsecured when working overhead.
Electrical safety. Electricity injures thousands of workers every year, some fatally. The following safety rules must be followed at all times. Respect electricity by following all posted warning signs. Remember that low voltage does not mean low hazard. All switches, breaker boxes, and switch panels should be kept clear and free from dust. Covers should be left on and doors closed. If a fuse blows, wires become exposed, or sparks develop, contact your supervisor immediately. Only authorized maintenance personnel should perform work on electrical equipment. All lockout tagout rules must be followed. If water is on the floor, clean it up immediately. Water is an excellent conductor of electricity. If someone comes in contact with a live wire, do not attempt to pull the person away. If possible, use a dry piece of wood and try to pry the employee from the power source, or move the electrical wire. Seek medical attention immediately. Stay clear of transformers and electrical lines, especially when operating mobile equipment.
Lockout, tagout. Before any device that requires energy to operate is repaired or maintained, the source of all energy must be locked out in the appropriate manner and tagged to indicate that it is locked. No one is permitted to unlock such device except for the person who locked it, after it is determined that all persons are safe from a release of energy.
Yard safety. To reduce the risk of injury while working in the yard, employees must abide by the following procedures. Steel-toed shoes and eye protection must be worn at all times. To avoid falling and to prevent leaning stacks of lumber, make sure the ground is solid and that spacers are used to separate bundles. Pay attention to mobile equipment. Truck drivers and mobile equipment operators are concentrating on their jobs, so be sure to stay clear from them. Never place yourself in between a moving forklift and a building, lumber pile, or trailer. Always keep equipment facing you. Maintain the yard so that it is free of rubbish, wood waste, and debris. And do not block fire hydrants.
Forklifts and powered industrial trucks, or PITs. Operators and employees who work around forklifts and PITs must be familiar with equipment and its operation. Only certified employees may operate these vehicles. Before starting the vehicle, conduct a safety check by circling the vehicle and checking its physical appearance, loose parts and hoses, oil and fuel coolant levels, battery power, backup lights, alarms, brakes and handbrakes. Report all deficiencies to your supervisor immediately. The operator has the ultimate responsibility for safety and must follow these guidelines. Obey all speed limits, usually under 10 miles an hour. Travel with the forks and load as low as possible. Take corners slowly and sound the horn, especially at blind corners. Look before backing up. Do not smoke while refueling. Keep a fire extinguisher in the cab. Keep arms and legs inside the driver's compartment. Know your clearances and height restrictions. Never leave the vehicle unattended while it's running. Keep forks on the ground when parked. No riders, and absolutely no horseplay.
Compressed air. There have been fatal injuries due to the use and misuse of compressed air. If air is forced into a small cut, it may cause air bubble in the person's bloodstream, which can prove to be deadly. Eye injuries can also occur by blowing dust or debris into a person's eyes. Compressed air should therefore always be kept away from other people and yourself. In addition, The following guidelines should always be adhered to when working with compressed air. Always wear personal protective equipment, or PPE, especially eye and hearing protection. Do not use compressed air to clean or blow yourself off. Horseplay and compressed air do not mix. You can startle someone if you give them a blast of air, and an accident may occur. When blowing down equipment, make sure the area is free of other employees. Use only OSHA-approved regulated nozzles. Use compressed air in well-ventilated areas, and do not use compressed air to clean the floors.
Back injury prevention. The risk of backaches can be reduced by following a few basic rules. Use these lifting techniques when attempting to lift an object. Bend your knees, keeping your back straight. Get a solid grip on the object, keeping your arms and elbows close to your body and tucking your chin in. Keep the item close to your body, keeping your feet apart, and avoid twisting or turning. To set an object down, follow these rules. Bend your knees, keeping your back straight. Release your grip only after the load is securely in place. And if possible, get someone to help you to use a dolly or a forklift to do the work for you. Additional safety rules include: ask for help when lifting or setting down an object that is too heavy. Use shop pallets, 3 pallets is company standard, to raise the height of lumber and finished goods to prevent the need for extraneous bending or lifting. And report any on-the-job back injuries to your supervisor immediately.
OSHA regulations. The Federal Occupational Safety and Health Act, OSHA, is designed to provide a safe working environment and to eliminate unsafe conditions. All OSHA directives must be followed by every employee. Any suspected safety hazard should be brought to the attention of the plant manager immediately. The plant manager is responsible for mitigating the safety hazard. Hazard Communication Program. The management of McIntosh considers hazard communication and the prevention of workplace injuries and illnesses to be of utmost importance. The HazCom program involves safety and well-being of employees, customers, guests, and visitors. The company is committed to providing a safe and healthy working environment. All federal, state, and local regulations regarding hazard recognition, accident prevention, and working conditions are followed. This program applies to all work operations at the company where employees may be exposed to hazardous substances under normal working conditions and during an emergency situation. The following are guidelines for the identification of chemical hazards and the preparation and proper use of containers, labels, placards, and other types of warning devices.
Chemical inventory. McIntosh maintains an inventory list of all known chemicals in use. The inventory list will be updated each time a new hazardous chemical is brought onto the premises. Chemical labeling. McIntosh will rely on manufacturer-applied labels whenever possible and will ensure that these labels are maintained. The company will ensure that each container is labeled with the identity of the hazardous chemical it contains and an appropriate hazard warning, the name and address of the manufacturer or other responsible parties. Containers that are not labeled or which the manufacturer's label has been removed will be relabeled. Always refer to the corresponding safety data sheet in order to verify label information. All chemicals will be stored in the original or approved containers with a proper label attached. Any container not properly labeled must be given to the employer's supervisor for labeling or proper disposal. No unmarked containers of any size are to be left in the work area unattended. Workers may dispense chemicals from original containers only in small quantities intended for immediate use. Any chemical that is left over must be returned to the original container.
Safety data sheets, SDSs. Safety data sheets provide employees with specific information on the chemicals used at McIntosh. A binder will be maintained with an SDS on every hazardous chemical. SDSs are located in the plant. Employees working with a hazardous chemical may also request a copy of the SDS from their supervisor or the safety department. The chemical manufacturer or vendor will be contacted if an SDS has not been provided with the initial shipment. No hazardous materials may be brought onto the premise or used by employees unless there is an SDS for that item. Training. Employees who work with or may be potentially exposed to hazardous chemicals will be trained to work safely with these materials. Employee training includes methods that may be used to detect a release of hazardous chemicals in the workplace, physical and health hazards associated with the chemicals, protective measures to be taken, safe work practices, emergency responses, and the use of personal protective equipment. In addition, information on the company hazardous communication program, including labeling and warning systems, and an explanation of safety data sheets is provided. Regular safety meetings will be scheduled to review the information presented in the initial training. Supervisors will be extensively trained regarding hazards and appropriate protective measures so that they will be available to answer questions from the employees and provide daily monitoring of safe work practices.
Personal protective equipment, or PPE. PPE is a critical part of our safety program here at McIntosh. You're going to be required to wear various kinds of PPE depending on your responsibilities. The most common are safety footwear, safety glasses, and hearing protection. But there are other forms such as chaps when using a chainsaw or welding helmet when you're cutting or welding. Your plant manager or supervisor will ensure you understand what PPE is going to be required for the tasks that you are asked to complete. Production and yard employees are required to wear all personal protective equipment as designated below. Eye protection. Safety glasses must be worn by all employees and visitors while inside the plant. Hearing protection. Again, all employees and visitors must wear hearing protection. Safety footwear. All plant and yard employees are required to wear hard-toed shoes or boots, including steel-toed tennis shoes during working hours. Clothing. All plant and yard employees are required to wear properly fitted clothing. Shirt tails should be tucked in at all times, and sleeves should not be loose-fitting. Highly visible clothing may also be required depending on the location that you work at. Eye and hearing protection will be provided to each production and yard employee on the first day of employment. Any employee found in violation of PPE requirements may be subject to disciplinary action, up to and including termination. Welcome to the McIntosh team, and we look forward to working with you.
Build safe habits starting today. Welcome to the team.
Welcome to the team. And remember, practice safety by choice, not by chance.